In today's episode, we take on more guest cabin projects.
Talked about this a lot working on this property, but taking apart all this stuff and the madness that went with it is a little bit frustrating. This is a T20, this is a Phillips, this is a nail, this is a T25. It seems like madness. It doesn't make any sense. I can't figure out why.
Bryce tries to get more done on the screened-in patio.
This is the most complicated shape I've ever made out of wood. I'm gonna do the cardboard template first, obviously, but I don't expect this to fit. I used more math than I did passing geometry back in the day on this thing.
I believe in you.
That's not a good idea. That's not a safe bet.
And I start to make the cabin interior look a little more acceptable.
Do you paint your walls first, then the trim, or trims, then the wall? And did you believe the chicken came first, or the egg? Or the egg or the chicken? Let me know.
So come join us as we make more transformations to our cabin in the woods. Thanks for tuning in.
These are all dead flies that fell out of the light when I moved it. You can still see some next to the light bulb here. I've talked about this a lot working on this property, but taking apart all this stuff and the madness that went with it is a little bit frustrating. This is a T20, this is a Phillips, this is a nail, this is a T25. And sometimes there'd be one object held on by 3 different sized like Torx bits. So you're just constantly swapping, and it just seems like madness. It doesn't make any sense. I can't figure out why.
It's to test your patience.
It's working. There's the hardware from this part of the disassembly. Just look how many screws. It's impressive, really. This is a really long screw. Oh my god.
The suspense is killing me.
Oh. Got there.
Yay, one wall is finally all disassembled. That looks so good as a blank slate. I can't wait to paint it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a game changer.
Anything with tater tots is delicious.
gotta return the turtle back home. All right, bye, turtle. I was not expecting him to take off that fast.
He was happy to go.
All right. I am just absolutely falling in love with this town. Today we went to the Lupine Festival and we shamelessly didn't understand what lupine was until we found this flower. And I think it's so cool that they have a festival that time of year because that flower is in bloom. I just love how creative that is, and it gives it that little tiny town feel. We play this game Stardew Valley and they have little festivals in it, and so it just kind of reminds me of that. It's just so fun to have a town and community that allows local artists to show off their things and just for people to sell their goods. So it's great to have that opportunity to be able to support the local community. While we were there, we did have one young gentleman sell us this amethyst crystal. He was the best salesman I think I've ran into. He seemed very passionate about his gems and told us all about how he cuts them and how fun they would be for kids and gifts. So we had to buy one, and I think it goes well with our little vase here that we got from the recycle center for free. So thank you, whoever didn't want this, because I feel like it's gonna go well in our cabin. Bryce loves Japanese art and architecture, so just really goes with the theme, and it's perfect to hold our lupine flowers in. Today's been overall a great day, but we also haven't gotten to the main project that we've been wanting to work on today, so I'm gonna just soak in the views a little bit more and head on over to the guest cabin.
Today we're going to be making some more progress on our screened in porch. We're going to try to seal it all in nice because right now it's just stapled and the bugs are just getting in there through every orifice in this building. There are a lot of gaps. It's not going to be completely sealed or anything, but we got to make it a lot better than it is today. There's two big areas up in the top in the roof line that there was boards put into place, but at some point they must have fallen out. They seem to be pretty complicated cuts. It's a lot of angles. There's two kind of maybe 45s, and the whole board is at an angle for the roof line. So I'm gonna make like maybe a cardboard template just to make it as easy as possible before I just start cutting wood and trying to chuck it up in there. And yeah, hopefully we can get artistic today, get the front done, and kind of see where it takes us. I think once it's fully sealed in and we have the shiplap part of it finished, it's good enough for now. I think maybe the only thing that I can think of that would be helpful after that is to continue putting some of this trim up just to make sure that, you know, it's not just the staples holding in the screens. With that said, let's do it. If you look at all the bird poop here, we actually had a bird get trapped inside, so I don't want that to happen when we're gone. Another reason just to get it nice and sealed today. We put the screen up just maybe 2 weeks ago, and look how bad it is already. It's gonna be tough keeping this clean. I'm gonna have to take like a leaf blower or something, but I think this is just fuzz out of the trees and stuff. Spring fuzz. Now that I'm up here, this is slightly more easy than I thought. It just might be straight cuts. Fits like a glove. Now onto this shape. I don't know how we're gonna do this.
Okay, today we are going to work on the guest cabin and not the outside, but the inside. So the reason why we are project hopping is because I have a bachelorette party coming up.
And I'm ready to party!
And I want this space to seem a little bit more fresh for people to stay in versus how it looks now, which is pretty gross. The plan of attack for today, I have to seal up the million screw holes that are in the walls and sand down some of the rough stuff. And then I have to tape it. And then I'm hoping that I will get a coat of paint on the wall today. But we will see how that will go. I do want to paint the trim, and I know people mentioned last time, why did I take the trim off the wall? So I am going to try to paint with the trim on the wall to see how that goes, if it goes faster. But I did like taking the trim off last time because we were able to vacuum underneath where the trim was, and we were able to see where some mice were living. But maybe ignorance is bliss, and if I leave the trim on, I will never know if there's mice having a party upstairs. So enough chit chat, let's get to work. I wasn't lying that there are a ton of screw holes in here. Like, what is going on? Holy buckets. Okay, I feel like this is a little bit like, did the chicken or the egg come first scenario? Because I'm trying to debate if I should paint the trim first or the wall first. And when I Googled it, it did say to paint trim first because then you can not worry having to make such neat lines after you paint the wall, which I do agree. So I think I'm gonna try to paint the trim first, but that's gonna shift my plan a little bit. But also it's good because it'll give me more time for the holes and stuff to dry so I can sand those down and clean the walls. So, I'm gonna get prepped for that. Yeah, I'm still debating if I should paint the trim or the wall first. I just read more websites that recommended doing the wall first, then the trim, because you don't want the wall paint to splatter on your freshly painted trim. But the other one said to paint the trim first, so it's easier for those clean lines. So I'm probably gonna do it wrong either way, which, you know, is a good learning curve. But how would you do it if you had the option? Do you paint your walls first, then the trim, or trims, then the wall? And did you believe a chicken came first, or the egg or the chicken? Let me know.
This is the most complicated shape I've ever made out of wood. I'm gonna do the cardboard template first, obviously, but I don't expect this to fit. I used more math than I did passing geometry back in the day on this thing.
I believe in you.
That's not a good idea. That's not a safe bet.
Okay, I semi-believe in you. That way my hopes aren't completely wasted.
I can see why this piece was never built.
Well, it was left up for you to try, so you got it.
After exactly one test fitting, I got it to fit perfect. I'm just totally kidding. I probably cut this thing and modified it like 15 times. Over here, I'm gonna add a quarter. I just cut a little bit too much off, but the rest of it, good enough. I'll just foam fill it and hopefully that should keep all the bugs and birds out. Not as pretty as the cardboard, but it will do. What a miracle. This fit first try. Also kidding. Didn't. This is about 15 tries later, but it's good enough. There's some gaps in here. I'll just come in and put some caulk on those and then foam fill for the larger sections up here.
Right here is probably where you guys had to have come out. Came out and go that way.
Yeah.
This is the worst part right in here because this doesn't get run. Nobody uses this here.
I bet you video makers will never make it back here again.
You guys had one of these?
Well, we got a little distracted. Jeff came over and, of course, invited us to take a ride on his Polaris. Is that what it's called?
Polaris. Polaris. Yeah.
That thing.
It was a UTV tour, which is very cool because the national forest land behind us just goes on and on and on and on.
Yes, and we had gotten lost at one point running back there, so we had to show Jeff, and then he was like, oh, no problem, these roads connect to these roads and these roads, so now I know more running routes, but no way am I going by myself.
Yeah, it's pretty sketchy back there.
It's pretty sketchy back there.
Yeah, especially with the wood ticks right now, I think that you'd probably get ate alive.
Or by a bear. But we're gonna sit down for dinner tonight, and we will catch you tomorrow morning, because we are not done with these projects. Nowhere near it.
That's right, so we'll see you then.
And just like that, it's just a girl, 2 dogs, and a wood cabin in the middle of nowhere. So that's gonna be a fun week.
It is a new day. We had a night full of sleep, and now we are ready to get back to work. Kane, are you gonna help me out today? Yeah, thank you. What are you gonna work on today? Yeah, you're gonna work on napping. Bryce just left. He had to leave for work for the week, so it is just me and the dogs, so we are going to get on this project. It'll be really fun for him to come back and see some changes. So I'm gonna try really hard to get as much as I can done, but we have a lot of work ahead of ourselves. But I'm gonna start by getting all the tape done, and hopefully we'll get some paint on the walls, because if we don't, this will be a really boring video. After much debate, I decided I'm going to paint the walls, then the trim. Who knew that that was going to be such a pain in my head, but it'll work out. Taping is so much more work than I figured it was going to be. But I decided as I was going along to also tape the ceiling for when I have to do the trim, so I don't have to come back up here and do that. And that made me think, how many of you are planners and you think everything through before you do a task? Or do you just go for a task and learn as you go? I feel like I'm definitely option B. Okay, here we go. No turning back. Okay, I like that. That's a really nice calming feeling. I know it'll dry a little darker, but yeah, okay. I'm very happy with that choice. Also, do I blend into the wall? About painting that I do find very therapeutic, and it's probably just because of the monotonous job that it is, but you also get progress at the same time. It almost relates to running in some aspect because running is very monotonous, but you make progress either getting somewhere or to the distance you want. So I don't know, maybe I can become a professional painter. No, I don't think so. I'm sure that there are some people watching that are cringing their teeth on how I'm rolling this on in such a sporadic movement. That is also how I mow the lawn too. But doing these projects has been really good because they're a way to help me gain confidence in myself. That is one thing that I struggle in life with, is just having the confidence and being okay with what I do. It's somewhat maybe perfectionist, even though I'm not a perfectionist. I just want to do my best or do the right way. I feel like since starting this channel, Bryce and I have really had to hone in on just being okay with how things are and just really finding our own way of, communicating, and especially communicating to the masses, because it's one thing having like a personal conversation with someone, and then you can kind of have that jib-jab back and forth. But when you're just talking to a camera, sometimes that can maybe not translate as well, or it doesn't feel as connected. So I feel like in future episodes, we'd love to be able to connect with you guys more and be able to build that community strength. But I do really want to thank everyone that watches our channel, from either when you watch from the van life stuff to now. I feel like we've made tons of progress just through our filming and editing and trying to convey a story, but also just trying to be realistic. We're not perfect. We don't know what we're doing, but we just want to be able to bring something that's entertaining enough for you guys to watch and be able to give your feedback and advice if you definitely had your experience at something like this. So our main goal is to always learn and always try our best, because this channel probably wouldn't be here without you guys. So thank you. Looky, looky. These walls are now unified. This one does have a second coat on. I still have to put a second coat of paint on these ones. I think that looks really good. But now looking at it from this angle, I really think I'm gonna keep that a feature wall, but right now probably paint it gray until I can get everything I need for it. And then that way the gray will lead into the hallway and go down. Just because I don't think I have enough of this paint to do the hallway too. And I feel like it might be overwhelming if the hallway was also this color just because of how tight this space is. But I think it's coming along. It's looking really good. I'm feeling good about it. Makes me feel like we can actually spend time in here. While these walls dry, I'm gonna just touch up some paint around where the trim is. And then I think I'm gonna take the dogs to the beach because I can hear Cecil barking in her kennel. And I think it's only fair that they get some time outside to play instead of waiting for me to be done doing this job. I'm just a poor girl, just painting this ceiling. Look at this monstrosity, a firework.
Good girl.
Well, we lucked out at the beach and there were no sandflies, so the dogs had a really good time. But I think I'm gonna leave you guys here for this episode. I know we probably didn't get a lot done, but that's also because we are kind of in real time with editing. So when this video comes out, it'll probably be within like a few days of me filming this. We just have to get caught up with our content, and it's been a struggle with us leaving all the time and having to kind of plan things for our ceremony and wedding reception, and then just life in general with Bryce working, and this is not our full-time gig. So thank you for being patient and just seeing small progress at a time. Hopefully in future videos we'll have a bigger progress video, so that way you can come here and watch something to completion instead of maybe a fourth way done. But hopefully in the next episode we will get the trim painted and more of the walls done, and I am gonna be really excited once we can get different flooring in that space. But that may be way down the road. I don't know. All right, well, thanks for coming along on this episode, and I can't wait to see you on the next one.
And yeah, hopefully we can get artistic today, get the front done, and kind of see where it takes us.
Drop it. Good girl. Good girl. Ready?